I made myself a footballer in Football Manager, and we're going to follow my career from start to end. Will I win the Premier League, the Champions League, or even a Ballon d'Or? Well, I certainly won't at the start of my career. As you can see, my attributes aren't very good. I've tried to stay true to real life. I was always a striker who could play on the left-hand side as an inside forward as well, but the only technical ability I really had was being able to shoot and pass the ball. Mentally, I could work hard for myself and the others around me, but I've always lacked some sort of killer instinct. Physically though, this is where I've always shone. I've always had a pretty good engine for endurance sports, and in the gym is where I really shine. Any excuse to get out this video of me repping 110 kilos on the bench press. I'm starting at my local club, Lincoln City, who I actually had trials for when I was 11 years old. I've ended up playing for the youth team in the first half of the season, scoring plenty of goals. I'm also sneaking into the England under-19 squad. Maybe I've made myself better than I should be. Despite my heading being pretty rubbish, apparently I'm still pretty good at scoring with the noggin. And in just a few months, I do seem to have increased some of my attributes. And as a result, I've got a current ability of 80. But in this universe, my potential ability is set to 160 out of 200, which if I reach, would mean I'm as good as Luke Shaw, SMS, Manuel Ugarte, Çalhanoğlu, and Gregor Kobel. Obviously not the best players in the world, but they are certainly elite. However, I won't reach that level if I just stay stuck at Lincoln City's under-18s. And it turns out, Yeovil won the race to sign me on loan, where again I have improved slightly. My finishing is now up to 13, and I've scored 9 goals in 13 league games. Pretty much all these goals are coming from inside the penalty area, but it's nice to see a real mix of tidy finishes and good headers. And they helped Yeovil win promotion from the National League, so all in all, it's been a great season. However, now I'm turning 18, I'm at a crossroads. Fate could take me anywhere. At different points across my journey, fate could change the course of my career, like increasing my potential ability, but this time the wheel says -1 to my best 3 attributes. So we have to reduce my strength, jumping reach, and determination by 1, hindering my progress. Now, I didn't think this was going to have an impact on me getting a loan in Season 2, but in actual fact, there were bigger plans in store for me. Because Celtic have just paid £1.4 million to buy me from Lincoln City. This is a big move, but is it too big of a move? My current ability is now 87, and every single player in Celtic's starting lineup is at least 130. So I'm at the mercy of Celtic's director of football, who chose to keep me in the B team for a season, where 7 goals in 34 games isn't spectacular. I have managed to improve my attributes a little bit, as I'm now up to 94 current ability, but I think a loan would have been the better choice for me. Luckily, heading to Season 3, there are plenty of League 1 and League 2 clubs interested in me. But Celtic sent me to Livingston in the Scottish Championship, where I only started 6 games and mostly came off the bench, where they genuinely played me as a defensive midfielder sometimes because I am now unconvincing in that position. This feels like a disaster of a loan. At this point of my career, I need to be playing as much football as possible, but to be fair, my current ability has risen to 104, so it wasn't a total waste of time. But I'm just mad that my 9 goals makes me Livingston's top scorer in the league, 10th overall for division, ahead of their starting striker Kieran Offord. Genuinely, because of this, Livingston are now my least favourite Scottish club. Hopefully next season I go somewhere where I'm appreciated. After a few games for Celtic B, I was sent to Wigan in League 1, where I tore things up, scoring 23 goals in 38 league games. And I was scoring some pretty nice goals too. Headers, close range shots, beating the defender on the dribble and then chipping the keeper, and shots through crowds of players to beat the keeper at the near post were all in my locker. Despite all my goals, Wigan only came 12th in League 1 though, as no one else in the team was pulling their weight. But I will take second place in the Golden Boot ahead of John Duran, who is clearly in need of a massive upgrade ahead of FM25. As a result, I've had a big increase in my attributes. Finishing is up to 15, determination is back up to 15, and my composure is the best it's been. Imagine if I played every single game for Livingston last season as well, I'd be even better. My current ability is now 120, which I think means I should be good enough for lower championship clubs. But I'm now 21 years old, and this is a pivotal age for footballers. Will the Wheel of Destiny grant me good fortune, or bad luck, or neither? Apparently, there is to be no change. But I kind of wish the wheel had landed on moving to a relegated Premier League club, or even Rangers, because Season 5 has been a disaster. After a great loan, Celtic kept me at the club, and I did make 3 substitute appearances in the league and 4 in the cup, but I made little impact and didn't play many games. Because while I wasn't in the first team's matchday squad, I also wasn't playing for the B team. Despite training with the first team, my current ability hasn't improved and it's still 120. So if it was actually me, I'd be looking to try and move away from the club. But in-game me, or my agent, is an idiot. Because I've just signed a new 4-year deal to stay at Celtic. I just hope I end up playing more football next season. A loan to Blackburn Rovers in the chat. He's here.
It's me.
No, you can't come in.
You know you can't stop me. I'm stealing your data whether you like it or not. No, not NordVPN.
That's right. When I use NordVPN, criminals like you can't track me online.
I don't need to. I'll just infect your computer with some malware from something you download.
No, you won't, because I have Threat Protection Pro turned on, which scans all my downloads for hidden malware.
Well, I'll just buy some of your data that's on the dark web instead then.
No, you won't, because NordVPN tells me every time my data is available on the dark web, so I can change my details so you can't get into my accounts. Be gone! To avoid a situation like that, you can get 2 years of protection for as little as £2.21 per month with NordVPN via my link in the description, which gets you an additional 4 months. Scan the QR code or visit nordvpn.com/TomFMVPN to protect yourself today. As I was saying, a loan move to Blackburn Rovers in the Championship has certainly given me more playing time, but just 7 goals in 26 games isn't really the return I would have wanted to see. I do seem to be quite a threat in the penalty area though. I seem to have the knack of being in the right place at the right time, but to be great, I'm going to need more than this in my game. But overall, Blackburn weren't great, finishing down in 18th place. Ironically, if I'd stayed at Lincoln City instead of going to Celtic, I could have been a starter in a team that just made the Championship playoffs. I've had a bit of a boost to some of my attributes, like my composure getting up to 15, and my current ability is now 128, which puts me in an interesting position. Lucas Beltran is leaving Celtic after his loan spell, and I might be in with a shot of taking his place next season. But if I don't get it, I have to leave on loan, else I will never fulfill my potential. Luckily, Celtic sent me on loan to Bristol City, where I played more games and scored less goals than I did at Blackburn. This is not what we needed. I did score in the playoff final, but Everton scored twice themselves, so I couldn't help City get promoted. I was mostly kept out of a team by a regen called David Oliver, who on paper is only better than me technically. I feel like I should have started ahead of him, but I did still make improvements in key areas like dribbling and technique, meaning my current ability is now 139, which means I could probably play at the lower levels of the Premier League. But now I'm turning 24, actually getting better is gonna be quite hard as development does start to slow down now. So will the Wheel of Fate give me a boost? Or knock me down? That is not what we need in the slightest. My hidden attributes do reflect how I view myself in real life. I am ambitious and pretty professional, I stay away from controversy as much as possible, and I wouldn't say I'm incredibly versatile. But I've never suffered an injury from any sport. But now, thanks to the wheel, it's more likely to happen in my career. And if we do get injured for a long time, that means no games, and no development. But over summer, Celtic sold starting striker Alejo Veliz to Al Ittihad. His current ability is 147, which means he vacates the starting striker role. And that means one thing. I have finally become the starting striker for Celtic. I still seem to be used mostly as a poacher, with pretty much all of my goals coming from within 12 yards. But at least I'm taking those opportunities and putting them in the back of the net. And obviously, being at Celtic, it's good to lift a league title. 4th? Behind Motherwell, Dundee and Hibs. What is happening here? I swear I have the unluckiest career ever. 14 goals in 32 Premiership games and 9 goals in the Europa League as we made it to the quarterfinals feels like a good return, but I guess for Celtic, it's not. My attributes have improved a little bit though. Finishing and composure is up to 16, and my current ability is now 144, but I don't think I'll improve much from there. So I am very concerned now that my career may fizzle out in Saudi Arabia. This upcoming summer feels crucial. One press of the subscribe button equals one prayer for my career. Fortunately, I didn't leave Celtic over summer and started season 9 well, scoring plenty of goals for the team in green and white, until they wanted to cash in on me. In January, Newcastle United signed me for £23.5 million and then proceeded to play me 3 times off the bench for the rest of the season. Have I just been bought by Newcastle to help fulfill homegrown status requirements in European competitions? If that is the case, I feel used. Even more annoyingly, I'd just been made the Celtic captain 3 months before the move. However, my current ability has risen to 151, so we're pretty close to my potential, and I am a good Premier League level player now. It's just that Newcastle have 8 players who can play as striker, and I'm 6th in terms of current ability. So hopefully they sell a lot of these guys over summer and I move up the pecking order. And they did end up selling a lot of attackers over summer, which is great for me as I'm now the 3rd best attacker at the club as Núñez is out on loan. So please explain to me how I've only appeared 4 times in all competitions this season. How am I being left out of a team in this situation? I mean, I'm being called up to the England squad. I haven't actually made my debut for them yet, but I really hope that Southampton buy me so I can actually play games in the Premier League and break into the England squad. At 27, I should be hitting my prime. Luckily, the wheel of destiny might come to our aid, and it says we are to be released from Newcastle on a free transfer. So after using the in-game editor to release me from my contract, Southampton are the team who picked me up on a free transfer 2 weeks later. What a waste of a wheel spin. Like they were going to buy me anyway, weren't they, if I stayed at Newcastle? So the attribute increase would have been way more useful. However, I ended up playing way more games for Southampton and was getting regular enough minutes in the Premier League. The issue is, the teammates around me weren't very good. So despite our best efforts, most of my goals were in games that we ended up losing, as Southampton finished 18th in the table and get relegated. Not by goal difference, but by the total number of goals scored. If I had just scored 1 more goal across the season, it would have saved Southampton from relegation. But it's kind of not my fault, right? Despite having the 2nd highest current ability in the squad, I only started 22 Premier League games, and there weren't any injuries. So I don't know why I didn't start all 38 Premier League games. If I had, I genuinely think it would have been a different story. But there are other Premier League clubs interested in me, so I hope one of them signs me so I don't have to play in the Championship. Okay, Brentford signed me for £31.5 million and I have cooked. 37 games played and 17 Premier League goals. That is not bad at all. We finished 8th in the Premier League and it might turn into a Conference League spot when the extra Champions League spots for the coefficient rankings update. So that is pretty cool. European football next season, please. Brentford actually play 2 strikers, which is nice for a change. And because I've got regular Premier League football, even at 29 years old, some of my mental attributes have increased slightly. So my current ability is now 155. It may have taken a long time, but I think we are finally now at a club where we could win a trophy. In season 13, I am scoring goals in all competitions. The Premier League, check. Europa Conference League against teams from Armenia, check. League Cup, no, we lost in the 3rd round to Liverpool. FA Cup, also no, we lost 3-0 to Chesterfield in the 3rd round. But I guess that's okay, we're still in the Conference League and I score 4 goals against a team from Austria. But then we got knocked out 2-0 on aggregate by Valencia in the quarter-finals. Despite that, I did win the Conference League Golden Boot with my 12 goals and won player of the tournament, so I am collecting personal accolades. I'm also scoring important goals in the Premier League that moves us closer to qualification for next season's Premier League as we slump down to 17th and barely avoid relegation. I just want my player to win a team trophy. I don't want to end up like Harry Kane where I win Golden Boot after Golden Boot I need some actual silverware to show for all my work. And now I'm at the age of 30, I might have the odd mental attribute improve, but I am going to start declining physically and then technically pretty soon. However, the Wheel of Destiny has one final chance to help or hinder my career, and it decides to help me. I can boost 3 of my attributes for a final push towards my full potential. So I think I'm going to boost my pace by 1, that feels important in the match engine and it's going to drop pretty soon. Also going to boost my heading, at some point I will just have to end up being a set piece merchant I reckon, so to also help with that, I think what I'm going to do is improve my jumping reach as well to really try and become a set piece target man from free kicks and corners. So my current ability is now 157. And given the career we've had with so many unoptimized seasons, I'm actually pretty impressed that we got this close to reaching my potential. But will this final push in my current ability help turn things around at Brentford? Well, my goals did help Brentford stay further away from the relegation zone in season 14. Brentford finished 14th rather than 17th, but we failed to compete for any trophies, and I was actually played less than I was last season. That's partly because I was out for 2 months with a torn thigh muscle in December, the same injury I suffered at the end of last season that meant I missed all of this pre-season. So injuries are starting to become a factor in my career and are hindering my ability to play games. Despite that though, something really good has happened. I've made my England debut at the age of 31 and collected 7 caps and scored 2 goals. The only thing is, I wasn't expecting to actually make an England debut so late in my career, so I've not had the detail level turned up for international games. So although we can see I scored the winner against Denmark and the first goal against North Macedonia, we can't actually watch them. So my assumption is they were both 35-yard overhead kicks. Pretty standard, I think, really. And now I'm an international footballer. I've gone international, moving over summer to Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany for £55 million and had one of my best seasons yet. I was the club's top scorer in the Bundesliga, as the team played to my strengths of being in the right place at the right time and my pace to be able to beat defenders to get to the ball first. I even scored the goal that took Frankfurt to the Europa League final as we beat Real Betis 3-2 on aggregates. We just then couldn't find a way to beat Man City in that final, unfortunately. But finishing 5th in the Bundesliga means we get another shot at it next season. But before we get to that, we have the 2038 World Cup. And I can now say I've scored at a World Cup when I got the goal in the second round against Tunisia, but England then lost in the quarterfinals as Spain went on to win the tournament. Had England played me in every single game, I think it may have been a different story. Season 16 ended up as arguably my best season yet. 17 league goals in 32 games feels really impressive. In fact, that was good enough for second in the Golden Boot race and helped Frankfurt back into the Champions League as we finished 4th. But despite scoring past Crystal Palace, we lost 5-3 on aggregate in the quarterfinals. So once again, no trophy for Tom. And I'm now starting to decline as my current ability has dropped to 152. You can see where my physicals have gone down. My pace is down from 17 to 15, and I've lost a bit of jumping reach and acceleration. So I guess this is the beginning of the end. Despite that, in season 17, I was still firing goals in left, right and centre for Frankfurt at an impressive rate. 15 goals in 30 games is not bad in the Bundesliga. This season, they helped Frankfurt up to 3rd in the table, their highest finish since 1993. And I've even been given the honour of being made club captain. But I suspect my involvement is going to start to reduce, as my current ability is now down to 143, as more of my physical attributes drop off, as well as a few of my technicals. So I wouldn't be surprised if Frankfurt decide to cash in on me right now as I head into my final year of my contract. But instead they don't. I stay at Frankfurt, but obviously the number of games I'm playing reduces, along with my goal scoring efficiency. And frustratingly, we miss out on the Bundesliga title by 6 points, which I guess ends all hope of me winning a league title, which is actually really quite sad. No league titles for Tom. At the age of 35, my contract is expiring in a few weeks' time, and it's unlikely a club will want me, especially as my current ability is now 134 and declining fast. That means this goal against Stuttgart might be the last I ever score. or not. Because Mines have picked me up on a free transfer over summer, and I played 31 games for them, scoring 9 goals. Unfortunately, that wasn't good enough to save them from relegation from the Bundesliga. And that really is my last season, because in 2 weeks' time, I am retiring. After starting my career at Lincoln, making just 3 appearances off the bench in cup games, a good loan spell at Yeovil earned me a big move to Celtic, which was a bit of a disaster. I felt messed around there, with the only really good loan spell being away at Wigan Athletic. But I eventually got myself into the first team that earns me a move to Newcastle United, which was a total waste of time. The Wheel of Destiny then released me from my contract, where I spent a season at Southampton before moving for £31.5 million to Brentford, where I had 3 successful seasons. Following that, I headed to Germany, where I competed for titles and got myself into the England setup at Eintracht Frankfurt. When it comes to winning trophies, technically I've won 3. I was in the Celtic squad when they won the Scottish Premiership and Scottish Cup, but I only played in 7 games all season. Then Newcastle won the FA Cup when I was there, but I only made 4 substitute appearances across 2 seasons. So I don't really think any of those trophies actually count, to be fair. I didn't have any significant impact in them. But there could be a way for me to finally start winning some trophies. I have now decided I want to be a manager, so we genuinely could do a part 2 to this video following my management career. I just hope it's not as winless as my player career was. If you want to see that, make sure you like the video and let me know down in the comment section. In the meantime, I've been managing a different team in a different game. UFL is a brand new football game where you can get wonder kids in your team and turn them into 99 rated machines. The best part is it's free to play. So if you want to see what the gameplay is like, check out this video on screen right now from when I gave it a go last week.